Now ready when you are, Mr. Chairman. Ready when you are.
I have one call. I'd like to call the Board of County Commissioners work session to order. Everyone please stand. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Marks is roll call vote.
Commissioner Hutchinson, Commissioner Engler,
Present.
Commissioner Galzinski,
Present.
Commissioner Marino,
Present.
Commissioner Slaney,
Present.
Commissioner Holt,
Present.
Commissioner Hart,
Present.
all present except for Commissioner Hutchinson.
Commissioner Hutchinson will be presenting excused action for the work session and also for this meeting. Next up, approval of the agenda. We have general public comments and presentation of special reports. We have the Fiscal County Administrative Controller, Margaret Mack, employees, and present the fiscal year 2022 regular budget. We have appointments, boards, and commissions, no actions, responses, committee reports, finance and administration.
Finance and administration is all set, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next up, our criminal justice and county affairs. Commissioner Engler?
Second. We are all set, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Register Human Resources and Public Works.
Human Resources and Public Works Committee is all set, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next item is the governmental affairs. Mr. Chairman, Hope, do you have anything in the governmental affairs?
We do not.
Thank you. Thank you. We have nothing under the administrative controller, which will just unfinished business. We have no action. Under new business, we have two items. Consider approving the Bonner County 2022 holiday schedule. And then also consider scheduling the public hearing on the fiscal year 2022 proposed budget. And general public comments, announcements, and agendas. And again, the approval of the agenda, motion support for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Support. We have a motion and support to approve the agenda. Further discussion. Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. We now have an agenda. That brings us next to general public comments. These general public comments will be limited to 3 items or less. Please state the name and the address. Because of the length of time tonight, I will be forcing the 3-minute sessions this evening. And we'll call first the general public live. Anybody out there live audience would like to speak? Hearing and seeing no one in live audience, Nicole will turn to the virtual audience. So if you have anybody with the hand raised, that you come up.
We do not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, we'll close the general public comment at 4:03 and move on to the presentation of the special report. First up, this is on the County Administrative Controller Margaret Mack, fiscal year 2022 recommendation.
Hey, better. Thank you very much. Thanks the team, that's for sure. I have a great one, so thank you very much. I would like to start today, first of all, by telling you that I will begin my presentation with a short reference to the challenging times we have all experienced in the past 18 months. We have found ourselves, all of us, in uncharted waters due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We have worked together to protect the public and our employees while continuing to provide excellent services to our community. Many of our colleagues and their family members have been sick by the virus. We continue to closely monitor the information and recommendations from the CDC and the Central Michigan District Health Department, as the Delta variant is causing some increase in cases in our community. To say the pandemic has been a challenge again would be an understatement. I wish to recognize and thank Chief Judge James and Court Administrator Terry Curtis for their commitment for us all to work together to address our responses to the pandemic, and they have been the usual joy they are to work with. I also want to thank the Board of Commissioners, the elected officials, department heads who have cooperated with me on the implementation of our response plan and the understanding and the need to continually adjust and update the plan as circumstances change. Now let's get started on the FY22 recommended budget. That's a lot of ground. All right. So, you all know that I like my quotes. So I agree with this, that there is no greater, higher confidence in terms of a career than public service, which is a chance to make a difference in people's lives. I'm going to talk to you today in great detail about our greatest asset, which is our employees. We are going to review some of their extraordinary accomplishments over the past year and some of the opportunities as we near our future in the near future. Each year, the budget is the most important document on how the government will produce. It reflects the values and the priorities of the government. It is my duty and my responsibility as the administrative controller to present to you a balanced budget for your action before the end of the fiscal year. This budget is balanced. Our budget process begins in April and ramps up in June with our meetings between the administrative controller budget team, department heads, and elected officials to discuss their budget requests, their budget needs, their plans, their future plans, and what they need to do their job. And they present those and present them to us. I firmly believe that budgets are living documents. They are a plan. It is not the end product of the process. The process is continuous. It involves monitoring. It involves reporting. It involves any necessary adjustments and amendments. I would like to, before I go any further, there's all sorts of people all over our organization that recognize, and I probably will not be able to remember every single one of them, but I do want to recognize the extraordinary team that we have in the Administrative Controller's Office. Jessica Gerazowitz, Melissa Franklin, Steve Krennick, Nicole Frost, Chris Whitmer, Emily Ford, and Leanne Grinziger. I'm honored to work with them every single day. Our presentation, so you're going to have to see me. And I'm a pretty sentimental person. So I want you to know they're a great team. I'm very honored to be with them and to work with them. And as you can see with the whole technology thing, they got that all in space. So thank you very much. So this is the theme for this year. We are Isabella County. What does that mean? So I want you to know that the reason I selected this theme is to honor our employees and the tremendous job they do each and every day, but particularly during the highly stressful past 18 months. Our employees are our prized asset, and you should be very proud of them. They're a source of pride for all of us. Our employees, the court, department heads, and elected officials provide excellent service to our citizens. We will provide more detail about their contributions throughout this presentation. In recognition of the efforts of all the individuals on the county's payroll, this budget document presented today recommends and incorporates a 2.5% wage increase effective January 1st, 2022. The budget incorporates no changes to our employee health care package, including no increase in cost of employees, no increase in co-pays, and no reduction in their coverage. In fact, it reflects a 0% increase in all of our overall health care insurance costs when you average them out. This is highly unusual. And according to the account executive at 44 North, Lisa Hockey, who works on our account, it is reflective of the aggressive and conservative COVID-19 response plan. So thank you very much to all of our employees. Now we're going to look at some of their extraordinary accomplishments. We're going to start with Park and Recreation. Now, I know I say this, and Commissioner Horton sometimes, Chairman Horton sometimes says this too. The Parks and Recreation Department is one of the jewels in our crown. We have lots of jewels. We have so many jewels we need one in the crown. But we want to talk about Parks and Recreation because it's a beautiful. I'll talk loud until you get here. A beautiful facility. So I want you to know that we have over 80,000 visitors a year. We have 8 county parks over 1,000 acres, 20 miles of hiking and biking trails, 5 boat launches and landings, 3 sandy beaches, 9 picnic pavilions, 4 bridges, 8 miles of cross-country skiing trails, and 2 disc golf courses. Let's talk about Coldwater Park. 98 modern campsites, 17 pool crew, 40 sites have 30 amp electric, 19 sites with 50 amp electric, 5 rustic cabins, and 3 pavilions. When I say rustic cabins, I'm heavy on the word rustic, right? They're rustic. They're how we have things. We have 73 campsites, all sites have 30 amp electricity, 5 rustic cabins, 2 pavilions. Deerfield Park, 10 rustic campsites, 4 pavilions. Look at all the fun they're having in our parks for the 4th of July bike parade. Talk about some of our services. I wanted you to look at this. I think this is very interesting. So if you look at this, you'll see that in 2019, before the pandemic, we had $51,816 in total annual passes for July. October to July 31st. 2020, that went down to 43,000. Of course, that's because of COVID. Look where we are today, 63,752. If you take out 2020, it's still a fairly large increase, isn't it? People want to come to our parks. They want to camp in our parks. They want to have picnics in our parks. They want to swim in our parks. They should be a real source of pride for all of us. So these are just some general pictures of our parks. I'm not going to go through every single one of them. I love the little girl peeking down here and the little girl peeking up there. Again, oops. That looks like a pretty nice afternoon, doesn't that? Absolutely. Projects in the park from 2019 to the present. I'm not going to read through all of these, but you know, the Coldwater Family Park Playground Project, you all remember that. The artisan well repair, the campground improvement, the raised fire rings, the online reservation system last year, the Deerfield Nature Park erosion project that is ongoing, the expanded parking lot at Coldwater Lake Family Park, the Husband Pavilion Fireplace project, which is happening this year, other projects, and the Wildflower project. So you can look at some of these. You can see that kind of what we've done at Coldwater. You can see what has happened at Deerfield with the erosion, which is currently going on. Hopefully stopping the erosion. It's a huge project. I don't know, but that puppy somehow heard about that puppy, and the picture was taken up there. I thought it was kind of sweet. So they told me it might be the mascot. I'm not quite sure. I thought that stuff Weaver was the mascot, but they could have more than one. So let's talk about what drives me to public service. It's a sense of possibilities. What can you do? Where else? What other profession can you have such a diverse thing that you need to do every day, that you need to be part of every day? You know, it's parks, it's Commission on Aging. For me, it's very diverse. So I think those are very important things. So let's look at community development inspections, give you an idea of what they're doing there. what's going on. They're building and plumbing and electrical mechanical permits for 1,246. Your inspections were 2,115. Soil erosion permits for 56, inspections 308. Zoning 132 permits, inspections 198. Additional inspections 675. And then new addresses, numbers given 62. Those are good things. So let's look at some of the other projects here. The wind turbine project, closeout is in process. Cellular communication tower in Gilmore Township, medical marijuana grow facility, continuation in Rice Township, Shepherd McDonald's renovation, the J&J wedding venue, Shepherd's got a lot going on. Yeah. Marijuana provisional center in Mount Pleasant, mixed use development for the city hall in the Broadway list box project that you have to do down that on Broadway as an amazing project to see. And then hotel reservations. We tried. The road commission new building, the new law building in the Broadway lots, Chippewa Hills dialysis center, Fisher truck wash. You can read them, you can see them as well as I can. It's amazing what's happening in our community right now with all of this development. It's good for all of us. So we want to take a quick little look back at what's happened in the last couple of years, and then you go through these kind of fast and you can see the progression. So this was the start of the wind turbine. Pay attention. There you go. It's amazing. I know all of you have driven by those towers when they're on the freeway, right? You have to pass them. Or the lakes. It's an amazing project. It's the project of a generation in our community, without a doubt. And that project was led by community development. So we should be very, very grateful for that. Acts of what you do makes a difference because it does make a difference. So now we're going to talk about central dispatch and emergency management. So to give you an idea, that central dispatch goes out and goes to the traffic stops, but they dispatch people to do those. Let's remember, it's not just a go to the corner of such and such and hang up. They are working with all the first responders to keep everything safe, make sure everybody's getting what they need to get. Traffic stops 5,400, property damage, accidents 1,100, operating while intoxicated 331, suicidal subjects 685, medical emergencies 4,900, domestic violence 1,400, animal control 994, fire 729, assaults 382, burglaries 228, child abuse 209, lines down 215. Total dispatch complaints 69,312. Total 911 calls 50,164. And total non-emergency phone calls 109,212. Don't you find those statistics staggering? I absolutely do. So the big project right now that we're doing is the updated 911 next gen system. The new phone system will allow Isabella County to receive better information from the caller and allows callers who cannot talk on the phone for one reason or another to text 911. The new radio system is in the process of updating radio communications for better communication to all the public service agencies that we dispatch. This is some look-see at what's happening in the Central Dispatch Center. I think that the photo on the left tells a tremendous story. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 screens that person is monitoring. Emergency management, and this is a emergency management quarterly exercise. You can see in that emergency. This is from the year before last, frankly. We wouldn't be that close together without it on today, but that's a picture from the year before last. But it's interesting to look at that and figure out where everybody was. I think Mark was over here on the right, at the empty laptop and something else as a press release, and I did a press release. So it was an interesting day and an exciting day. Here's just some things that they have dispatched. This is from the flood in 2017. You all remember the little duckies living by the emerged car, right? Fortunately, we all remember the road situation and the drain situation. This is a pileup, 127 a couple years ago. I remember this very clearly. I was in Clare at a meeting, and one of the local bank presidents called me and said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm trying to get back to Mount Pleasant, Clare." And he said, "Yeah, don't go down the Mission Road. Stay on the highway." And I did, and I got off, but this was a little further south, and that was that ancient pileup. And then the fire in Shepherd. So next, we're going to talk about the facilities department. So I want you to keep in mind, there are 7 members of the facilities staff. I want you to keep that in mind as we look at this as we move on. Of the 7 members, 4 of them are custodians. So we have the sheriff's office and jail, we have the trial court, the county building, commission on aging, materials recovery facility, animal control, day treatment, public defender's office, central dispatch, BOC, Central Michigan District Health, Michigan State Police, and Plus. So that's 232,296 square feet. We have 3 full-time employees. They're dealing with toilets being plugged. They're dealing with drains not working. They're dealing with the heat being down. They're dealing with farmers calling issues in here today. So they rise the heat on. I can be here beyond. Oh, thank you very much. These are big jobs. And these are huge assets for the county. And making sure that we have the right people to do that is very important. And so when you see one of the custodians, or you see somebody from facilities, please tell them thank you. Especially this last year and a half, those custodians have worked very hard to keep us healthy by taking care of the high touch points, by taking care of the bathrooms, by cleaning. So those are big jobs. Animal control. So we had in the last year 4 abandoned animals, 73 cruelty and neglect cases, 37 dog bites where a person was bitten, 125 dogs running at large, livestock running at large. This is one of my favorite pictures. I always look at it. I just love this horse. Just drop down the middle. And then unlicensed dog enforcement of 30. We have 1 animal control officer, 1 support staff, and they do that job. Their total complaints handled were 829 complaints, 1 animal control officer. Let's talk IT. We have 240 computer systems, 82 laptops, 168 printers, 68 scanners, 24 wireless access points, 377 email accounts, and just the county website, 67 tablets, Chromebooks, and iPads, 6 county phone systems, of which just in the county building and trial court alone are 154 phones, 169 cell phones and jetpacks, 25 copy machines, 10 fax machines, 44 network switches, 13 Polycom units, 15 services, and 68 remote workers, and there's 2 of them. They do a tremendous job. I am so thankful for what Michelle and Chris do. And now that we're working under the circumstances of the here, that Chris, Michelle, and my staff, and plenty of other staff are here trying to make all this technology work and get us where we need to go. We appreciate that. I don't understand how many of it works, but I appreciate it. Thank you, Michelle and Chris. So this is the administrator controller's office. We took this picture a bit back when we were working on the budget, and I said, oh, let's just do something fun. So we did. So this was the, you know, evil, say no evil, say no evil, and see just too much. So I want you to, this is not the entire team. You're going to see other pictures as we move forward here. But I do want you to see some of these statistics. So just in the administrator's office, we processed 89 FOIAs. We had 37 new hires that were recruited. All of that paperwork comes to us. All of that is entered. maintained, the postings are through us. You're looking at those folks being onboarded through our payroll benefit system. We had 6 retirements. We had 0 audit findings. We had 8,867 account payable checks, which may not seem unusual to you because those at every meeting, but it's a lot. We released 10 requests for proposals, requests for bids. Our total gross payroll just for the week of August 19th was $508,941.52. On that particular payroll, we had 232 full-time employees, 25 part-time, 33 seasonal, for a total of 290 employees. So I want you to understand a couple things. So if you look at that payroll amount, and then we look at the total annual wages for the last fiscal year, we were at $13,232,348.93 for the payroll. That doesn't include the benefits. So if you were to look at that payroll, we were to multiply that 7 times, which is what economists tell you is the economic impact of that payroll on the community. The economic impact is $92,626,436. So the economic impact of your employees and the payroll is over $92 million in our community. Buying cars, buying houses, buying lunch, buying groceries, buying shoes, a huge impact. Our total annual health life insurance benefits, which includes the administration fee we pay our third-party administrator for, dental, vision, disability, HRA, medical insurance, prescription, and life insurance is $3.9 million. The total annual defined benefit retirement for 62 employees is $1.4 million. The total defined contribution retirement for 162 employees is $589,000. And then the employee health care benefits, I think, is really interesting to look at because we may have 300 employees, but you have a lot more than that because you have people's spouses, partners, and their children. So if you look at where we are at a 7-year high with folks that we have on our insurance. So again, that's a huge benefit, not only to our employees, but to the community. These are some other members of my team, Jessica, Leanne, and Emma. They were maintaining shenanigans and the rest of us were looking at our picture. And then Chris and Melissa. So this is a picture of the American Rescue Plan workshop that we had here back in July for the non-entitlement units. We had folks here from townships and villages. It was a nice evening. I think Nicole snapped this picture. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that. So General Brett Scoutcroft made a comment here, a quote that I really like. There's something enormously fulfilling about being engaged in something bigger than yourself and imparts a satisfying sense of purpose, which in my experience, his experience, is not attainable in any other way. He is the former U.S. National Security Advisor and he's an Air Force veteran. Takes us to our Veterans Department. Sorry, I have to turn my head because I have a lot on my screen. So the total population of veterans is 3,468. Geographic dispersion of VA expenditures is 27 million. Those include obviously the federal World War II vets are 808, Korean 481, post-Korea 45, Vietnam veterans 2,260, post-Vietnam 245, Persian Gulf 950, Persian Gulf 708. OEF means Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom. 1,664 active duty, 0. Reserve National Guard 74, other unknown 984. That's the total return tax that Ian has got. So I think it's very important. This is a picture of the county fair this summer and the booth that the Veterans Affairs Office had there. I believe this is the chair. This is the chair of the Veterans Affairs Committee. In case you haven't been in our building recently, there is an official U.S. flag retirement box now in the downstairs lobby, the main lobby of the building. People can bring their flags there, they can leave them there, and our Veterans Office will make sure that they are disposed of in a proper, responsible way. And now we're going to look at some other things that your folks have done. So this is the material recovery facility. I refer to on the left as the mountain of milk jugs, which seems to happen quite often. On the right is the mountain of cardboard. The materials recovery facility, again, if you have not been out here, this is the catwalk that people stand on and sort into these great big bins. What comes up the hill. To give you an idea of the commodities received, cardboard, 2,619 tons, newspaper, 389 tons, office paper, 48 tons, plastics, clear glass, and tin, 389 tons, and hardcover book, 4 tons. Sometimes people ask me, what is it like in the back, which I refer to the production part of the material recovery. So, Margaret, what's it like back there? And I tell them that in the summer, it is a hot, dirty, smelly job. And I really have a lot of respect for those that do that. In the summer, it's a cold, dirty, smelly job. And I really have a lot of respect for the people who do that. So the folks who are our processors, who are sorting that every day, all day long, they're what keeps the gears moving there. So great job at the whole recovery facility. Here's a picture of one of our drivers. Now we're going to talk about the Public Defender's Office. We have in this picture 8 members of the team who were there the day they took pictures. There are 11 positions. We have a vacancy and a couple of folks who were at court doing some things that they needed to do that day. I want you to remember that we have only been in operation a very short period of time. The effect of it is amazing to me. So in the fiscal year 2021 statistics so far, 444 felonies, 81 felony probation violations, 681 misdemeanors, 36 misdemeanor probation violations, 55 other cases, and 1,968 arraignments with the attorney present. That's impressive. I can't give them enough credit. Equalization departments. Equalization department, as you are well aware, annually reviews the 18 local assessing jurisdictions. They have over 500 parcels are visited that they visit in our appraise each year as part of the equalization study process. I take that back. I'm not sure that they visit everyone, but others do. Reports to various authorities and evaluations according to processed over 2,800 transaction documents for ownership changes, acts to assist local assessing and tax units with balancing and information property changes, and they provide data on assessing taxable values for commissioners. Okay. So now we're going to go into a little history, financial history. We'll try to keep it moving along for you. Property tax revenue, just so you can see where we are at. You will note that our property taxes started where they started in 2012 when we were first keeping the statistics. And now you'll see that we have inched up very slowly. But if you look at 2012, that was the figure. In 2021, the figure was 12 million. In 2022, we're looking at 13.6. It's a slow climb. That's affecting our property taxes that come into us as revenues. The good news is it may be a slow climb, but it's a steady slope. So at least it's not going the other direction. When I talk to you about revenue sharing and state income tax, for those of you who, if Commissioner Hutchinson was here, I would go into a deeper dive because he hasn't seen all this before. You have seen this before. This hasn't really changed much. Just to remind you that, you know, we fell off the cliff with 3 other counties and involved in bringing the information provided by the Commissioner Association of Counties. You know, this is how much we were missing back in the day. You can see if this is where we were in 2009, and this is where we think we're going to be in 2022. Not much change, not much increase. We really are back pretty close to where we were. It's it's a very negative impact. It was a very negative impact. Other governments were not impacted the same way by this decision years ago. So I commend Michigan Association of Counties and those of you who I know have supported them, working with them, and I'm working with them, others are, to try to get us into a better place. But at least we are going close to the right direction. It's disheartening. This is looking at the facilities tax, the state liquor tax. As you know, some people refer to it as the overall tax, and you can see, oh, well, what happened here? Well, what happened here is that they decided to remodel overall, and so they kept more of the money. So we're kind of in a little steady decline here with that too. That's, you know, we're looking at, we've got it on top here of 689,000. I'm sorry, 639,000. We're looking at 260,000 this year. If you look at interest income, you can see that we are doing better. We did better in 2019. We certainly had the same recession and post-recession interest income that everybody had in their private and their personal income. We climbed the hill up here for 2019. Now we're coming back down again. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're seeing in 2020. Looking at corrections revenue, again, you know, the reason we had this huge spike was we had contracts with outside sources for inmates. I decided that was not what we were going to do of that magnitude moving forward. So we have had a drop in that, but you can see that we're kind of evening that out some. The red line is inmate housing contracts that we have. I'm sorry, this is the total. The red was the contracts we had. We have some contracts now off and on. And then this is our ability to receive inmate housing from local folks. It is what it is. Then we are going to be looking at retirement information. Employee retirement expenses. Sorry. So this is a good example, and the chairman Horton has said this before too, that I've said before about promises made, promises kept. Please remember that the red bars are the defined benefit pension program. The gray bars are defined contribution, more of a 401k program, to give you an example to the audience who's watching this. These commitments were made to our employees for years, and we are going to meet those commitments. However, in 2018, we were offered the opportunity to kind of level off that uphill climb that started in 2012 and progressively went up, and some of them quite steeply. So the Board of Commissioners chose an option to level that a little bit, chose the MERS option B scenario for effective. And after 2018, and I think it was a very wise choice. And you can see our defined contribution is going up now, which is a good thing because employees are sharing that cost. But again, anyone who's on defined benefits and are part of these or red bars, they didn't do anything wrong. You know, there wasn't anything wrong with this choice. This is how retirements went out in the public sector for years. Let's look at total revenues versus expenditures that's in this plan. The red bars are expenditures, the light blue or gray bars transfers in, and the blue bar is revenues. We'll be going into that more in a deeper dive here in a minute. I want you to see that graph because this is a graph that we've been utilizing since I've been here and I wanted to continue it. Clerk's office, there they are, our county clerk's office. They do a great job. They're great neighbors down the hall. So this is the team. I will say this, that due to some staffing situations and vacations and things that were already pre-approved in the clerk's office, they were unable to provide us statistics, but trust me, I walk by that window all day long, and they are a busy group. So thank you for what you do in the clerk's office. Thank you very much. Let's talk about the prosecuting attorney's office. So the prosecuting attorney, their cases had 2,181 cases for felony misdemeanors, 925 felony cases reviewed for charges, 324 tickets reviewed, 11,362 district court events with 701 preliminary examinations scheduled, 2,464 circuit court events with 591 pre-trial conferences scheduled, 204 new cases worked on for child support, juvenile cases, 170 juvenile delinquent petitions authorized, and 32 abuse and neglect petitions. This is the swearing in of 2 assistant prosecuting attorneys by our county clerk. These are a couple of the activities that they do, the Child Abuse Awareness Month and the Pinwheel for Prevention that you see on the northwest corner of the county building every year. Treasurer's office, this is our treasurer's office. They also had some staffing issues and vacations and busy time, so they were unable to provide some statistics. They do a great job. Looking at the Drain Commissioner's office, you can see that the construction, maintenance, and inspection, 406 county drains, 40 inter-county drains. They do the maintenance, inspection, and raising and lowering of lake levels for Lake Isabella Dam and the Stevenson Lake Dam, and they take care of the water system. Maintain the wells, operations, hydrants, water lines, building, payment, collection. So they assessed over 100 drains for maintenance, with 19 being multiple year assessments due to the large programs on projects. They revised the district boundary of the North Branch cleanup having to be assessed from the 2017 flood damage. Included over 2,100 landowners, 38 drain tributaries to go to the North Branch. Hill City Sewer Project guidance at the Process County drains. Their 2020 projects, Little Tobacco River Inter-County Drain, along with Clear County, over $11 million project is still underway. Isabella County is obtaining 30% of that cost. The 2021 projects, Mission Creek Drain, located in Union Township, with the computation of costs not quite complete. Cost is going to run about $3.4 million. Will be a multiple year drain and will be spread over 20 years. There's a great picture of the flood damage done to the face drain a few years back. This is the North Branch of the Chippewa, north baseline, and the flood repair. Register of Deeds, another great needle across the hallway from the United States. So I want to talk to you a little bit about them. People, I don't think a whole lot of people really understand what the Register of Deeds do, and they do exactly what the name is. They register all the property deeds, right? The property exchanges. So the deed and related documents, 4,600, lien documents, 286, mortgage documents, 4,900, e-filings, 2,200, survey land corner monumentation documents, 220, passports processed, 276, and wind documents, 94. This is a picture of the Register of Deeds. Karen Jackson and Alice, her chief deputy, discussing the logistics involved with reporting a 671-page document, if you can imagine. This is I'm sorry, Alice is not her chief deputy. Let me walk that back. Betty is her chief deputy. Betty and Jack, I don't think he's on the payroll, working remotely. And this was a picture of Nancy when she was working remotely last year from Florida. And then this is a picture of Trudy. Trudy is indexing a document from 1922. Great historical documents there and in the clerk's office. So in county trial court, district court had 6,900 total cases, traffic tickets were 1,600, circuit court 968, in front of the court 2,355 cases. So with that, we're going to talk a little bit about the value of things and what it costs us to do all of these things that we just talked about that our staff has done across the last year. And again, all the kudos to them. So let's talk about the budget process. You have seen this before. I like to be collaborative, honest, flexible, timely, not a surprise in the budget process. Doesn't always work out that way, but I certainly strive to have it work out that way. I want to talk a little bit about the budget. If you received this summary in your packet to the commissioners, we are looking at the 20 actual budget, the 2021 amended budget as it still stands, currently stands in the recommended budget. So taxes, we're looking at a slight increase. Licenses and permits, a slight increase. Federal and state, yes, an increase, $2 million. Charges for services, down a bit from what the amended budget was. Fines and forfeitures, also down a bit. Interest and rents, down a bit. Other revenues, pretty consistent. Transferring in $800,000 to the delinquent tax fund. Use of commissary funds, $105,423. Transfer in from the Register of Deeds Automation Fund, $11,067. Transfer in from indirect costs, $865,704. Transfer in from CPL, $29,655. That's to pay the Parliament employee. And then use of fund balance, $310,597 for a total budget of $24,437,000. I'm sorry, $24,437,310. Now that's kind of dry, so let's look at it this way. If you look at it this way, you can see that statistically, taxes. I'm sorry, I didn't. That's really. I really did. Okay. If you look at this, you'll see that the taxes amount to 56%. Use of fund balance is 1%. Transfers in direct costs is 4%. Automation really doesn't even register with the percent. It is the commissary, although we certainly appreciate all of that. Delinquent tax fund revolving 3%. Interest and revenues, 1%, I think that says. Fines and forfeitures, 0%. Charges and services, 8%. Federal and state, 25%. Licenses and permits, 1%. So one of the things I want to talk about before we move on is I want to talk a little bit about fund balance. You know, there is various discussions about, well, what's about fund balance? So let's talk about that a little bit. Jessica, would you pass some stuff out for me? So commissioners have this document now for anybody else in the audience. Please, Adrian, one second. So I want to go over the 5-year budget to actual comparison of fund balance. I want to tell you that if you start from the bottom and you look at the year 15-16, we had originally budgeted $150,000. We amended the budget to $817,963 at some point. We actually used $340,000. So that had a positive variance of $477,000. If you look at 16 and 17, we had budgeted to use $2,080,000. That was the amended budget. We actually used $1,145,000. So that was a positive variance of $935,000. In 17, 18, we budgeted to use originally 1.7 million. We amended that to 1.9. We used 903. That was a positive variance of 1 million. 18, 19, we budgeted to use 624,000. We amended it to 629,000. We actually added to fund balance 287,350. That was a positive variance. In 1920, we budgeted to spend 294,000. We amended that to be 1.3 million. We actually ended up spending 11,000. So that's a positive variance of $1,339,000. And in 2021, we had budgeted to spend 313. We amended the budget to cover any of the costs that we had upfront for some of the sheriff's office correctional facility. We don't have those finals in, but I can tell you that so far, we have taken and we have already paid back from the bond anticipation note the previous years. And we have paid back what was budgeted to be spent this year, and now any funds will be coming out of the separate account for the jail project. So this was put together by Steve Krinovich, CPA, looking at the audit. Those are all audited numbers. So I just wanted to point that out to you. Because I know there's always a discussion about the fund balance, and I wanted you to look at that. And now I'd like to turn over to Steve for a quick presentation that he gave to the Finance Committee last week about his review of the tax revolving fund analysis. Ms. David, you need to come up here.
Oh, okay, I think. Oh, that's one. All right, one, take the, got it. So let's start with this. Okay. So as part of the process of the budget, we also look at a lot of information for the delinquent tax fund, and we basically utilize 3 spreadsheets to do that. This happens to be the first one here, so I'll just kind of touch on this one just a little bit. And we utilize this, and this is taking information out of BSNA software, detailing a substantial amount of all the cash and investment accounts and so forth, looking at it from, as it says here, June 30, 2020 through 13 months, so it goes through June 30 of 2021. And so just to kind of show you that there's a basis for the numbers that we utilize, and as you can see, there's lots of colors. So I just to make sure I'm keeping myself on track, I try to use a lot of colors to make sure that everything ties. And as you can see here, this is kind of a important number. I don't know, paint or fuchsia, whatever color this is, for September 30, 2020. That 2.1 million is the total cash that ties to the audited financial statements at June 30, 2020. So again, just kind of showing that we've got accurate, reconciled, tied out numbers and so forth. And each of these, as we work across the page, you can see the rest of those numbers are yellow. So basically, those tie back to reconciled bank reconciliations and so forth for each of those months. So again, just to show that there's a substantiated basis for the cash and investment numbers. So just to look here at the bottom and point out a few things. The analysis again is projecting out into the future what we would anticipate the purchasing of the delinquents would be going forward, and in this case, for the 2021 delinquencies, which were purchased in the spring of 2022. So looking at this, as you can see, the 2019 delinquents that were purchased were a little over 3.6 million. The 2020 delinquents that were purchased were a little over 3.8 million. And I've just done kind of just a little analysis here to make sure that I was picking up the right numbers and so forth, from what the treasurer's office provided to what I could see in the general ledger was pretty much spot on. And so basically looking at that 19 purchases compared to the 20 purchases, that increase from 19 to 20 was this 4.22%. So we use that to project, as it says here, to the speculated amounts that will be for the 2021 purchases of the delinquent taxes. So taking that 4.2%, we also factored in what I would call a buffer of 5%, as it says here, potential economic or economy caused increase in delinquents. So actually what we're using for the speculated 2021 delinquent tax purchase is actually 9.225% higher than the 2020 delinquent purchase. So again, we factored in what we felt or what the actual change was from 19 to 20, and then we buffered it with 5% to give a what we felt like would be probably a larger number than would be the delinquent purchases in 2021. And kind of looking back at that, that was one of the questions at finance. Looking back at that, 18-19's delinquents were about 3.9 million. 19-20 delinquents were almost 3.7 million. You know, as you can see here, this is 3.6, and then the 2020 was 3.8. So using 4.1, we thought that was a pretty. It's probably, I don't want to use the word inflated, but it's a larger number than probably will happen. But nobody really knows for sure, you know. And it is a you know, it's a number that's got some buffering in there. So the important numbers kind of keep in mind that 4.1 million there, and then also that 2.1 million that we looked at here. Those two numbers are kind of the basis for the next spreadsheet. I'll see if I can get there without messing up. Oh, that's on everybody. Okay. So a couple of the details, and I guess I should have said, I know the commissioners and so forth, you have these in hard copy too. I also have the hard copies if anybody is curious to see those. But this spreadsheet here is a detailed analysis of the activity in the delinquent tax fund, and as you can see here, now we'll do this in a lot of detail, but it has 3 years worth of kind of building this over the last 3 years, so it has 3 years worth of information in here. At the top, you know, 18-19, 19-20, and then 2021 as we work down the spreadsheet. And we actually want to get to this component of the spreadsheet. And I think if you have these in hard copy and you're looking at them, this might be the very last 2 pages of your hard copy packet. But this is the detailed spreadsheet. That middle, the second page that you have is a summary spreadsheet. This is the detail that you have. I think even the title is at the bottom. But again, going back to that, remember that 2.1 million. So we're starting with that cash, that audited cash number at 2.1 million, and then we work across the page. And I'll go through all of these in detail, but basically looking at a monthly basis, looking at all the activity that happens in the delinquent tax fund. We get out here to February. It's done on a monthly basis up until about February, because March is really when it really starts to heat up in the treasurer's office with purchasing of delinquent taxes and all that type of thing. So as of March, we start analyzing the weekly cash sheets of the delinquent tax fund and so forth. So As you can see here, starting in March 5th, March 5th, all the delinquents were purchased. And as you see, those 4 weeks in March, that $3.8 million worth of delinquencies were purchased during the year or during the month, actually at the end of the month. And so again, these numbers, as you're trying to piece the spreadsheets together, as you can see, each of these numbers, like the yellow shaded numbers here, tie back the yellow shaded numbers on the spreadsheet. So you're kind of trying to piece back the activities together. That's how the spreadsheets are working. And then again, using that on a weekly basis, looking at the cash needs, the cash collections, and so forth, you can see this bottom line is line 59 is the cash activity, and each of these tie back to those cash amounts, cash and investment amounts back on the balance sheets. Those other spreadsheets. But so as we work across, we continue to work out, and this goes out until June 2021, because those were our last, when we started this project, those were our last reconciled amounts and so forth. So we come back to that $1.4 million in cash. And then from there, we project out, we estimate out for the next year where we anticipate cash investments will be based on last year's numbers. So looking at the estimates for July of 2021, those are based on July of 2020 numbers. So it's always a 1 year kind of roll forward as we work through the activity. So that's where all of these these calculations happen. Looking at July 2021, all the way through July 2022. And so as we look at that, we're basically trying to come up with a sweet spot, so to speak, of where we would be for utilization and transfers out of the tax fund over to the general fund. And as Margaret pointed out, that estimated number, or the number that was built into the budget, was that 800,000 that shows up here in that column, CDD 410. So basically, this spreadsheet works across, reflects utilization and amounts coming in of cash. And if you remember from that first spreadsheet, we're estimating the 3/31 of 2022 purchases of delinquents, that 4,163,000. So that number includes the 4.22% plus that 5% buffer to come to that 4.1 million of estimated purchases for in the year of 2022 for the 2021 tax. So as that goes through and projects out what we would anticipate, looking at this, definitely this bottom line here, this line 59, is the cash available at the end of each month. And as you can see, just kind of a couple things to point out. The lowest point of cash is this, as of the purchases as of March, is this 453,000. So nowhere in the estimation does cash drop below 453,000. So definitely, appears to be plenty of cash in the fund. And then what we also did in this budget was we placed where if you recall in the past, we've done whatever the amount was, we determined the transfer to be, we spread it over, we did quarterly transfers, basically to come up with the total. In this analysis, we didn't make the transfer until May to show that, just to provide and just to afford appropriate cash levels in the tax fund. And the general fund we didn't feel was necessarily in need of the funds until that April-May time period. So we pushed that transfer until May to again reflect, that hitting in May. And still, as you can see here, again, the estimated after buying all the delinquencies in March and making that transfer in May, cash still estimated as $625,000. And just to kind of give you an idea, to say, well, you have a lot of estimates, a lot of projections, speculations of what the numbers are going to be. Comparing this spreadsheet for last year compared to actual for this year. So we projected we estimated for June 30, 2021 in this calculation. There. Back on.
Yep.
There we go. Okay. So to look at the for estimated 2021 cash amount from last year was about $1 million, and our actual for this year was about 1.4 million. So again, I felt pretty comfortable that even after the analysis of the cash itself, the cash is better, but the cash itself, comparatively, what we estimated compared to what the actual amount was, actual was actually higher than. I got balance in that too. So actual cash was actually higher than what we estimated last year. So again, I think that kind of proves out that buffering that we built in last year. Conceptually, we built that buffer in this year. So looking at this, even at 629,000, theoretically, cash should be higher than that. But we're kind of taking it at its lowest estimate. So I don't know if there's any specific. That's kind of all I really wanted to cover on that. I can unshare and turn it back over to Margaret. I will unshare. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Steve.
Yep.
Yes, we mean to determine fixability. Fixability. Thanks, Steve. Thank you for your information. So then let's talk about expenditures. And I know that the commissioners all have a detailed line item, and I don't want to. I don't want to belabor what you have in your hand, so. Okay. We're going to look at expenditures, right? I figured this out. You have those in your document on page 9. So under expenditure summaries, you can look at where the $24 million is coming from as far as legislative, judicial, general government, public safety, community and economic development, public works, health and welfare, contingency, and other financing uses. So while you're looking at that, let's go to the pie chart, which is the next page, which is page 9 in your budget document. Are you commissioners able to follow? Okay, I apologize for the glitch. I apologize to you. So if you look at in your expenditure summary, you can see the pie chart there that general government is 32% of our expenditures, judicial is 19%, legislative 1%, other financing usage 7%. Contingency, although we have $50,000 contingency in the budget, represents kind of a 0% statistically. Health and welfare 5%, public works 1%, community and economic development 2%, and public safety 33%. Thank you so much. So with that, we're going to talk a little bit about, I'm not going to go through every line item on the budget. What I want you to know, is that if you were to look at what percentage of the budget for each department and office those elected officials and department heads have discretion over, it is somewhere between 30 and 40%. So 60 to 70% of their budgets are wages and fringes, and they don't have discretion over those, correct? So I think it's very important when we talk about, oh, well, you know, this is what the budget, this is how we're going to pay for it, this is what we're recommending. If, you know, if the commissioners were to say, okay, that's great, Margaret, cut everything by 20%, I can tell you that 60 to 70% of every single elected official's office and department head office is probably wages and fringes. So when you look at this, which is page 10, I hope, of your document, again, this is the general fund budget. You know, people are saying, why is the public safety budget so big? Well, that's the sheriff's office, and they have 53 employees there. So again, if you were thinking of what percentage of wages and fringes are in departments, that's a good example. And we all want to be safe, and they do a great job of keeping us safe. So I'm not going to go through all of the line items in that budget. I think the pie chart explains it very well. And I know that we're looking at where we are with time. There's other things to go through today. But you can go through all of those. You can call me if you have any questions. You can look at the special revenues. You can look at the proprietary funds. And you can call me with any questions you may have about any of those individual line items. I think I would like to move on and talk a little bit about a couple of our other departments here that are very, very, very large departments, and I want them to have the amount of time that they need and that they are able to have you look at what they do too. So I'm going to go through these and you can contact me. So let's talk about the capital improvement requests. These are always big situations here. So if you look at the in the general fund of personnel requests, the Commission on Aging is requesting to combine 2 part-time to 1 full-time in their homemaker aid. The reason of doing this is to provide more services to more of our clientele. We've had part-time, full-time, full-time, part-time combination. This is the recommendation. I am recommending that. The Drain Commissioner asked to have a reclassification of 2 of the positions in the office. I'm not recommending reclassification. We had a classification study done and implemented in the last 18 months. The Sheriff's Office has requested an inmate services clerk to be changed from part-time to full-time. I will tell you that that person has been working, or that position has been working somewhat full-time, really for the last year or so, I think. Anyways, it has to do with the changes in the corrections department, all of the services that are required there. It really takes a full-time person to provide the support that's needed in that part of the sheriff's office. The special deputy position is to fund a position for the county building security, a full-time position equivalent of 1.25 to 1.5 FTE to be funded through the American Rescue Plan direct revenues. That's an allowable cost. One thing that we have known, I guess one thing that I have felt for 8 years is that that building needed to have security. It has not had security in the last year with the corrections, with the court officer being provided to us by Judge James. That started initially as them helping to do the visitor screens, and it has since really transitioned into a security position. I think that probably everybody in the building feels much safer having somebody there. I think it's great when the public comes in, those officers say, "Hi, can I help you?" Well, yes, I am going to, I don't know where I'm going for sure. I want to get a marriage license. Up those stairs to your left. Geez, I want to go to Veterans Affairs. Down those stairs to your left. It's very helpful. They're going to be the first responder in that building to any type of an emergency. That special deputy will be under the direction and control of the sheriff. They will follow all the sheriff's protocols. The sheriff will select those personnel. They will work for him. They will be on location at that building. There'll be a special deputy in the same classification of special deputies that we have at Michigan College. I am very thankful to the sheriff for working with me on this, and they're saying, yes, Margaret, I'm happy to do that. So we're also looking at a staff lieutenant, sheriff lieutenant position. This also would be a new position. This is looking at the structure of the sheriff's office. The sheriff has been in office for a number of years now. He's had the ability and the experience to look at his structure and see what is the best interest moving forward. Many counties of our similar size have lieutenant positions. You know, the sheriff's office is a 24/7, 365-day operation. Many of the employees there also serve on special teams, special assignments, and this would be an opportunity that position would be able to take over some of the duties that are now really, I'm going to use the word burden, not a word the sheriff will ever use, burdening the sheriff and the under sheriff. So it will allow them to be freed up to do some other responsible things that they need to get done. You know, some community activities that they want to be able to provide. And we're looking at this huge project moving forward with the sheriff's office and the correctional facility. And to do this, also, I want to make it clear that we are looking at also changing up a couple things so that we would, you know, look at one of the, I think that we're looking at a deputy position that would be eliminated to help fund this, and also a part-time position in the corrections office and recreation. Is that correct, Sharon? Yes. I was just going to pull out my file, but those two positions would be used to combine this. So really, it's not like we would be funding 100% of a new position. The sheriff always finds a way to work great when looking at how we can work together to get the needs of his office fulfilled. And when you look at it, it really will make a huge difference. And then we're also looking at a senior assistant prosecuting attorney position to be added to the prosecutor's office, also to be funded through ARPA direct revenues. That is also an allowable activity with those funds. This has to do with a huge backload for the courts, which also then is a backload for the prosecutor moving forward. So I am recommending the areas that are highlighted. When we look at capital improvements, when we look at capital improvements, I want to talk a little bit about what we have here. So starting in the general fund, we're looking at a request to replace the penthouse and the roof replacement on the county building. Gary, for the point of the press, there is not a penthouse on top of the county building. I just want you to know that. I want anybody confused. There's not a luxury apartment up there. That's not a mechanical room. I don't know why they call it that, but they do. That is a, I think it might be the original equipment. Attached. I will tell you the reins of this last few months, there has been a leak, a big leak, that leaked from the roof to the third floor to the second floor. There was damage in the clerk's office. There was damage in the register of deeds office. There was damage upstairs in the third floor in the federal rehab for the veterans program that they have not been in that office since the original lockdown a year and a half ago. And why facilities goes in there occasionally to make sure everything's okay. One time they went in and it was not okay. And it was leaking out. I will tell you, I've seen the video of Jeff from our facilities on that roof. He and Steve were up there patching it. And literally, he was doing this on the roof. We can't have it. It has to be replaced. I would recommend that we use our lost revenue funds for the replacement of the roof. We also in the county building need to replace the HVAC system, the air handling system, the air quality for what we're estimating to be $520,000. We also believe that we can use direct RPA, direct revenue funds for that, according to the definitions. And the pickup truck, one of the two pickup trucks, they're both just dilapidated for the facilities department. They're dilapidated. I can't think of that word. replace one of those for a cost of $24,000. I am recommending that. I believe that truck's approaching 30 years old. The Register of Deeds had this digital microfilm scanner approved in the 2021 budget, was unable to purchase it due to shortages, other things. So we'd like to move that forward to the 2022 budget. The sheriff is looking at his patrol vehicle replacement request for one Ford SUV and one Ford F-150. This is the usual rotation that has been worked on and has been utilized by the sheriff's office. This is to make sure that our employees who are out doing their jobs and when they are in their cars, that is their office, it is their safe place, it is their record keeping, it is their everything. We want to make sure that we're replacing those vehicles on a regular rotation basis. And then in the information systems, we're looking at a server replacement for the PA, the trial court, the sheriff. With lost revenue funds. We're looking at a phone system for the county and the court building. I'm telling you, the phones there are 25 years old, is that right? Yes, 25 years old. They're a problem. You can't get replacements. You can't see things on the printout. If you're me, you want to call somebody with a 2 in it, you have a problem because my 2 sticks. There's just major problems with the phone system. We need to have a modern system. We're looking at an email exchange online conversion to converting to from the ICE work system we currently have, which is a very, very old system. And for those of us who have cell phones, laptops, desktops, and you're trying to sync all of that information, it does not sync easily. For those of us who you have other people coming into your calendar and trying to make appointments, again, they're not syncing. So if you're looking at your phone and you are, driving through McDonald's to get a cup of coffee and you're, oh, where do I go next? And if it's not syncing with your laptop, you're not going to get to where you need to be going next. So it's a very, very old system. And then a server replacement for Commission on Aging from their fund balance, that's just a regular replacement. So if you look at the non-general fund capital, you're going to see that, you're going to see that in central dispatch, you'll see that in central dispatch, you have a radio recorder solution. This system needs to work with all the other equipment that was replaced due to the huge lightning strike last year, if you would remember. I will tell you, this is a discounted price of about $30,000 that they're going to hold through December for us. So hopefully if you approve this, we'll be able to get that in October. The HVAC for the radio room, I know we had some discussion about this $15,000 at finance. I looked into that. I do not feel that that should be an ARP cost because the one for the county building, it has to do with air quality that people are in. This really has to do with more or less the server room and keeping it cool enough for all the new equipment. The electrical grounding of the building, well, we just put $1 million worth of new equipment in there. We want to make sure that the next lightning strike doesn't take it out, right? We're legitimately grounded. We had an audit done. I think that we need to do that. The paging talk group system of $36,000, I'm recommending that. The redundant firewall equivalent for $5,000, I'm recommending that. The business line telephone system, I'm not recommending at this time. The command and control, 6 additional portable radios, I'm not recommending at this time. And the security fence for the radio tower, yes, we want to make sure our radio tower is secure. Inspections, time for rotation, they're moving to pickup trucks, which I think is a smart thing to do. The well number 2 rehabilitation for the drain for the Lake Isabella water, they just were not able to get to that this year. The parks, a pickup truck, utility vehicle, a gator, a stand-on mower, and gatehouse replacement. I'm recommending those. Asphalt replacement and repair at Murph. We have 2% tribal distribution. I'm recommending that. The upfeed belt and main ram cylinder. I am recommending that. We have an agreement with the city. We split that cost into our equipment reserve funds. The city has already approved that. The curbside truck, again, we have a 2% distribution for that. The skid steer loader, we have a 2% distribution. And the way scale, we have a 2% distribution. It was requested in 2021, but the project is not going to be finished in 2021. Anybody have any questions? Okay. I'm going to go through this a little faster. Again, the commissioners have all this information in the document that was sent to you. Let's talk about the Commission on Aging. We've all read this quote from Hubert Humphrey. I think we're talking about those who are in the twilight of their life. And, you know, a government, how they treat those. I'm going to tell you, if you're in the twilight of your life and you come to Commission on Aging, you're going to be treated pretty darn well. So let's talk a little bit. 317 volunteers for 28,000 hours, which equates to $735,000 worth of services. They traveled 70,000 miles, they delivered 30,000 meals, and they worked at 5 congregate sites. That always touches my heart. So service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth, according to Muhammad Ali. I'm not going to read through all of these because I know what I've been going on and we have a further agenda, but this is a very big part of what we do. The kitchen assistants, the needle crafters. You look at the kitchen assistants donated 774 hours of service to preparing, packaging, and delivering the meals. It's astounding. We couldn't do what we do without the volunteers. Delivered 30,000 meals, driving 52,000 miles. Transported volunteers for 885 hours, driving 17,000 miles, transporting 97 clients over 112 appointments. Again, providing services to our seniors, our senior companion, the foster grandparent program. These people pivoted, they adjusted. We got them tablets, and all of a sudden they're working with these kids remotely. It was amazing. I think some of those folks probably didn't know what tablets were before that. They did a great job. And they do a great job over and over. The 450 in Medicare Part D, for those of you who have ever sat down and gone through that with one of our trainees, one of our staff, or one of our volunteers, you know the difference that makes in the life of trying to decide what you're going to choose for Medicare Part D. These are all the activities at the Commission on Aging: fitness classes, art classes, educational, fun things to do, special events, travel. There they are, having a great time, and there they are at their end of the summer picnic. So with that, we're going to talk about the sheriff's office. I think I told you earlier, the sheriff has, I think I said 53 employees. That's a big, heavy load. This is one of my favorite pictures that they sent to us from the sheriff's office. Heroes at work in their front patch of mulch, but in front of the building. This is also a great picture of our sheriff in Lansing, I believe. This is the Boulder plunge. You see that little girl looked very happy to be plunging into the arms of our sheriff. He was there for a very long time. As you can see, he had all of his equipment on. She got her toes wet and was very happy. This is one of our deputies in the academy. This is the sheriff and 2 of our employees at the Michigan Sheriff's Association Conference Awards in June of 2021. 2 of our deputies. This is a donated critical response trailer. This is the new Marine craft vehicle, otherwise known as a boat, which provides the marine services that the sheriff offers. It's much, I'm not going to say any comment because I had to drive through and look at it the other day and it wasn't there. So the sheriff's office, the police clerk's activity, these women rock. They did 645 civil papers were processed, 272 FOIA requests, 26 gun permits and registrations, and 770 non-criminal fingerprints. That's coming to the clerk's office, right? It's there at the clerk's office. So when you do the cost benefit, you can't put a price on the humane treatment of those who are in our charge, according to the former Los Angeles County Assistant Sheriff. This is one of our corrections officers providing services in the jail. This is the command. General, I'm sorry, that's not the real term. What is the proper term, Sheriff? Thank you, Master Control. I knew that. I was testing you. Inmate slash were 1,600, average daily population 127, meals served 149,000. This man should get an award. It's amazing. And then this is some of the road patrol. As I said before, if that's your day, they're going to come help you. So they had over 1,000 accident reports, 516 arrests, 1,200 criminal complaints, 387 non-criminal complaints, 554 domestics, 92 mental health calls, 799 car deer accidents, 152 transports, 1,562 traffic stops, and 2,500 reports taken. This is taken in the commissioners' chambers before lockdown. It was a session of looking at the new sheriff's office and correctional facility planning team. This is the sheriff's and his team over in the sheriff's office doing more of that hard work. This is looking at etching of what the new Isabella County Jail Sheriff's Office will look like. Another view. If change you wish to see in the world, Gandhi. That's my report. Questions? Questions? Commissioners, if you have any questions after the meeting, please feel free to call me, email me. I'm happy to chat with you about anything. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Administrator Maskel. Okay, no any questions for Administrator McAvoy? That takes us down to appointments to boards and commissions, which we have more action. And finally, bring us down to item number 7, committee reports. First up, Finance Administration.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 1, consider ratifying and placing on file the August 13th, 2021 invoice list in the amount of $153,738.29. The August 20th, 2021 invoice list in the amount of $242,716.79. August 27th, 2021 invoice list in the amount of $247,024.63, and the adjustment list dated September 2nd, 2021. And then taking each of these lists one at a time. The first one from August 13th, the over $5,000 items that appear on the top of page 1. Just 2 on this first list. The Dickinson Wright PLLC, $11,000. That's for professional services for the bond anticipation note. And then $68,448 to watch guard video for 12 body cameras, which we received 89% of that came from a tribal grant. So thanks to the Saginaw Chippewa Indian tribe for that grant. Those body cameras are critical. Moving on to the next list. Several payments to Edward W. Sparrow Hospital in the amount of $11,873.50. It's like 7 months worth of our contract payments, January, June, July. And then Preston Community Services, $11,500 for our monthly equalization contract. Manor Custodian PC, $13,298 for July. Financial Services, our bi-weekly hats, animal control contract payment. Fahey, Schultz, Burchett, and Rhodes, $5,585. Michigan Creek legal fees for the drains. Rosen Consultants LLC, $8,500 for engineering services for McDonald Drain. And then WatchGuard Video, $14,878 for in-car video systems for the Sheriff's Department. And then a refund of a PRE tax. Payment treasurer's office. And then finally, the August 27th list includes our Mid-Michigan Development Corporation fourth quarter appropriation, the community mental health fourth quarter appropriation of $54,000, payment of $38,406 to integrated architecture for July architectural services. Star Excavating, $7,576 for veterinary drain repairs. And then we have August MAC administration fee and public defender appointments, and then a couple other public defender appointments. And then the monthly day treatment contract for McBride Quality Care, the amount of $38,885. And $9,304 for Wolverine Human Services for July private agency youth services. And the adjustment list, we have all of the usual early payments that we have for food service, and then consumers energy payments that we make early in order to avoid late fees. One invoice decreased, the prior balance was already paid. And then the WatchGuard video invoice was decreased, the sales tax was removed. And then moving down more toward food service early payment discounts. And that covers, so any questions from any of the commissioners on any of those items? Hearing and seeing none, then those items will move forward to tonight's agenda.
The next item is consider adopting a delinquent license fee waiver for any new dog owner seeking licensure within 30 days of ownership, regardless of age of the animal. We've had scheduled fees and charges for animal control since 2011. And this came up because we had a family that adopted a dog in another county. And when they brought it to be licensed in Isabella, it ran, we had a delinquent requirement after March 1st. So they would have to pay an additional $40. That kind of works against the adoption of animals. And so this proposal, if it gets approved, would make it apply to any dog regardless of age and bring it in line with our neighboring counties. Margaret, I don't know if there's anything you wish to add to that.
I think you said it very well, Commissioner. The staff report went into more detail, but I think you did it very well. I have nothing to
Any
add.
questions? All right, then we'll move this forward to the meeting tonight. Third item. Consider adopting an animal adoption fee waiver for animals adopted through Humane Animal Treatment Society special adoption events. Upon review and approval of each waiver request by the county administrator controller. The topic discussion, the topic pretty much lays it right out. There are some special events, and as a promotion, it would seek to give a waiver to that fee if the animal is adopted during that event. Any questions? Then we'll move that to our regular meeting tonight.
Okay. Item number 4 then is consider authorizing municipal employees retirement system MERS to conduct supplemental valuations of each MERS division whose participants are not receiving an automatic COLA increase at a cost of $400 for the first DV division and $150 for each additional division to determine the cost of authorizing a flexible e-COLA 2.5% in 2022. So there's numerous types of cost of living allowance plans that you can offer employees in this defined benefit retirement system. The flexible one is a one-time shot, so we're looking at possible, well, we're looking into the cost of it. And MERS does the valuation. Like it says here, it costs $400 for the first division and then $150 for each. And I believe we have 5 different divisions.
It's 6 total, but the
6
total
total.
price would be about $1,150 for the valuation.
Any questions? Yes, sir.
Just for transparency, because I am a defined benefit retiree of the county, I will be abstaining from discussion and voting on this issue at the meeting tonight.
Yes, I'll also have to recluse myself since my wife is on the benefit program, so.
Appreciate that. And then this just authorizes MERS to do the valuation, so we can see what it would cost us. And then we'll go from there. Any further questions or comments? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, that item will move forward to tonight's agenda. And Mr. Chairman, that's the work of the Finance Administration.
Thank you. Next up, our criminal justice and family affairs.
Our first item is consider approving the grant contract extension between Michigan State Police and Isabella County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, extending the deadline to utilize funding through December 31st, 2021 for federal pass-through coronavirus emergency supplemental funding and authorize the board chair to sign the same. Do we have the prosecuting attorney? No, it doesn't look like. So they had a grant.
Actually, he is in the Zoom meeting.
Oh.
Here he is. Yes, he's been waiting. He's been waiting.
Just
There we go.
Sorry, is it my turn to go?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is essentially just requesting an extension of the grant that we've already received. This would allow us to expend an additional, I believe, $16,000 of the funds, the grant funds throughout the course of the end of the year, and allow us to apply some of those funds to our software program upgrade that's taking place right now, and transfer some of that into the fiscal year 2022.
All right. So Isabella County Prosecutor just explained that we are able to extend this grant. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we'll move this forward to the regular session. The second item is consider approving the professional services agreement between Isabella Solutions Consulting for hazard mitigation plan development services in the estimated cost of $36,219.84. We had 5 companies bid for this, and 2 of them were we used the point systems to integrate solution consulting. Discussion on this.
He's not muted.
Mark, you're not muted. Can you hear us?
Not hearing much of what you're saying. What was the last question?
There was no question. Is there anything you can add regarding that? I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
No,
That's fine. Is there anything you'd like to add for the approval
No,
of integrated solutions?
no, that summed it up correctly.
All right, great. Are there any questions about that contract? Then we'll move that forward to the work session tonight. Then Third item is consider approving the amendment 2 to the software license services subscription agreement between the Central Square Technologies LLC and Isabella County Central Dispatch, created February 1st, 2021, and authorize the board chair to sign the same. Again, this is a no-cost amendment to the computer-aided dispatch contract. It helps clarify the roles of Isabella County Central Dispatch and Central Michigan University Police working together in case our systems go down. Anything you'd like to add to that, Director?
No, sir, thank you. That summed it up perfectly.
Thanks. We, hopefully you're not driving during this.
No, I'm not. I'm about 3 minutes ago, the computer in the office died. I had to jump in the car. I apologize. Just before that, I was out at a tree that had come across the road helping. So I jumped in the car and this is where I'm at. Apologize for the hat. But no, you summed it up. A no cost agreement on that particular part of our CAD system. And I am not driving.
Excellent. Well, thank you for going on your way to join us here. Are there any questions for the amendment? We're not trying. No cost. No, we'll move that forward to the work session.
Okay, we got also coming up is consider approving the shared systems acknowledgement for Isabella County Central Dispatch and Central Michigan University Police Department, and authorize board chair to sign the same. This is also another cost. It's very important for Central Michigan University. So, Director Griffin, do you have anything you'd like to add to this?
No, it's more of the same. It's defining the two roles like the previous no cost agreement.
Is there any more questions? Seeing none, we'll move this forward to the next session. And the last item on our agenda is consider approving the change order in reference to 13848 of Central Square Technologies for the CAD paging interface, and authorize the board chair to sign the same. And basically another no cost. This is something that we need to get the system going. We talked in committee about I was not going to explain the CAD system in all intricacies. So if you would like to, Director, would you like to make any comments on it? But it's pretty well necessary. The system needs to be implemented before the end of the year.
It's the no cost upgrade. It keeps us interfacing and paging out the fire department and the media with updates to things that are going on. And hopefully it's the last thing that you'll have to deal with on our CAD project.
Okay, is there any more questions? See, we'll move this forward to the next board session. And Mr. Chairman, that completes the work of the Justice and Common Affairs.
Thank you. Mr. Durkis, now you can go back to driving your vehicle. All right, next up, Human Resources and Public Works Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our first item is the MRF weight scale system replacement. The motion is to approve the replacement of the facility weight scale system with Jack Corporation. Jack steel deck truck scale system with digital wood cell in the amount of $7,707.07. Chair, sign the same. We have our director, Jake. Here.
Jake. As you can see, we have now an RFP for this replacement of our scale system in the design facility. It is an integral part of the system as far as anything that comes in or out of the facility, whether it's product coming into the facility or product going out, runs across our scale system. The biggest benefit for this for the facility is in upgrading to the new system is the fact that we know that we're going to be receiving accurate weights on, especially on our output commodities. And that's what our sales are based on, is that weights itself are not just very critical part of this. As you can see, we have $67,755 and 2% money. Second, right, to go towards that purchase with the other funding to finish the $107,280.70 coming out of the MRS equipment reserve fund. We have, as you can see, there is $39,000 is what the difference is, or what is left out of that cost after the $67,755. There's $39,525.70, which then there is a cost share with the city helping to split that cost, $9,312.25 out of the city's equipment reserve fund, 67.44%, $30,213.45 out of the county's. My recommendation is to approve the replacement of the checks corporation's VTech truck scale, steel deck truck scale system with digital load cells in the amount of $107,280.70 a month.
Thanks for the questions. Go ahead. Thanks. Real quick, I know we touched base and reason with the digital, that's the more preferred way to go versus the analog. The analog is cheaper, but it's not really good. Is that correct?
Yes, sure. The biggest thing of it is that when we went out, or when I started looking at purchase of the new scale, trying to look towards the future for the facility itself, and knowing that we are getting something that is going to be able to carry us into the future as far as maintenance and things of that nature. Digital load cells are a lot higher quality, getting us a better reading on our scale all the way through the system and for years in the future.
That's what actually one of those money that's for lack of a better term is it's product. You want to be accurate on the product. You don't want to be underlying on older. Second, I believe the city's already approved this. Is that correct?
Yes, sure.
Okay. And also, we've known that scale is one or two of the only ones in this area, so we do generate fees from that scale for other entities using it. Is that also correct?
Yes, it is something that is a state certification. Like the Secretary of State's office, somebody is wanting to purchase a license plate for a trailer, they have to get a weight on that trailer. Our facility being certified by the state of Michigan, our weights are capable of getting that certification.
And we do generate fees from that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I take it the scale will be put in the same location. So when the old scale gets removed until the new one's operational, how are you going to weigh the products and what is that duration of time?
Very good question. Actually, my staff, and I've already given them and tasked them with making sure that what we do is we'll take an average on weight scaling on products inbound and outbound. Outbound, we do get a weight from the mills. So we're going to have to trust that our mill weights are going to be what our weights would be, in which most cases they are a certified scale as well. So they are going to be very accurate. But we'll take averages. Say if we have somebody like waste management coming in on a daily basis, we'll take like a 2 or 3 week average weights and base that out per day, so that we can just run an average. And I've already talked to the companies that we do charge a processing fee, and they're acceptable of that process to be able to take an average weights on daily inbounds and outbounds.
Thank you, Jake.
Any more questions? Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
That being the case, this will be on our regular session this evening. Okay, next item is the individual service contacts, RN caregiver trainer, and we have a director,
Jennifer Crawford of the Commission on Aging to talk about this.
Hello there. So tonight I'm bringing forward our personal service contracts for the Commission on Aging. And so this first round, these two contracts, one is for our registered nurse, which is a requirement of the funding we received from Region 7 Area Agency on Aging. And the second is our caregiver trainer, which is a program where we've received that funding also from the Area Agency on Aging. So as far as our registered nurse, that person is responsible for reviewing our assessments and our reassessments. And we're very fortunate to have Jane Gepper with us. She came on board last year, and she usually averages between 5 to 10 hours a month. It just depends on how many we have for her. And then our caregiver trainer, Mary Ellen Walsh, she's just amazing to have on staff. She provides one-on-one counseling with families that are caregivers. She also does monthly support groups. And then she also does fall and spring trainings for folks, and is just an incredible resource to have in our community.
Any questions on that item? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item, which is also through the Commission on Aging. It's the bulk food meal delivery driver. Do you explain this?
Sure, absolutely. So our bulk food drivers, we have 3 gentlemen who have been with us for a really long time, and they do an amazing job. So we have 2 routes, and so that provides us also with a sub. And so what they do is they will transport the bulk meals out to our congregate sites 3 days a week when we have those. And then and also added bonus for us, they'll also will take along the home delivered meal coolers, so that volunteers on those days don't have to come all the way here to the office to grab them if they're closer to that area. And they can pick them up there and deliver in those areas where they are.
Any questions on that item? Thank you. Our last item is individual service contacts activities.
Okay, so then this is the fun activities that we have going on here at Commission on Aging. So through our activities program, these are all of our fitness instructors. We have a painting class instructor, and then also the active living newspaper editor for us. So all of these programs are up and going with the exception of the aqua programs yet, because those do take place at CNU. So our aqua Zumba and also our water aerobics. We're just waiting to get the go ahead to get those going again. The instructors are ready to go when we do get the go ahead. But everything else is happening. We're doing both on-site and some virtual options for our fitness classes, and it's been really going great.
Any questions or comments?
Real quick, we mentioned in committee that use the virtual aspect of it. Having some of, again, a little bias here, but having some of Judy Schwartz involved. She's a tremendous asset, both as a kindergarten teacher, she's touched my family's life, and she continues to help the community out, even when she's relocated to Colorado. So again, lemonade sometimes comes from bad situations, and that's just lemonade virtual code. Having Judy to be able to do that is
Absolutely, we're very thankful for that, and that was a really great bonus with the virtual option, because it was a big loss for us when she did move away. And so to be able to keep her involved with us and her group participants, we're so excited to reunite with her again as well. So that has definitely been a real plus for us.
Any other comments or questions? Go ahead. You have a question? Okay. Okay, well, thank you, Jennifer. We'll have all these items on the agenda this evening. That concludes the work of the Human Resources and Public Service Committee. Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Moreno. Next up is intergovernmental affairs, which will be under activity. Nothing under administrative control reports. Brings us to item number 8 on finished business. We have no action. That brings us to item number 9, new business. First up, consider approving the Isabella County 2022 holiday schedule as presented. Administrative Controller McAvoy, I'm assuming that you're going to touch upon this, but it's pretty straightforward.
Very straightforward, no changes from previous years, same holidays that we've always had.
Okay. Any commissioners have any questions on this? Right, hearing this evening, I will move forward to this evening. Next up is consider scheduling the public hearing on the fiscal year 2022 proposed budget, beginning at 7 p.m. or soon thereafter, as may be heard on Tuesday, September 21st, 2021, as a hybrid meeting, which means in person and electronic, at the Isabella County Commission on Aging and BOC. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Commissioner, Administrator Controller McAvoy, anything to add to this?
No, sir, it will be on the agenda this evening.
Okay, very good. Next up, we will move on to, I guess any commissioners have any questions before I move on. Hearing seen none, I will move on to general public comments. Again, items, comments limited to 3 minutes. First, we'll start with the audience, live audience. Anybody in the live audience? Okay, so let's head into the calendar. So we'll now turn to the virtual. Call anybody in the virtual.
There is no one at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Just a moment. Okay, we'll just wait just a moment and we'll go into announcements. Yeah, we'll close public comment and move to announcements. Commissioners, any announcements? See no announcements from the commissioners. Okay, without any announcements, I have nothing to add. I'd like to call on the chair, 6:01 p.m. who will adjourn the meeting.
For those of you who are inviting in dinner, that will be to your left.
Can we turn this on?